Hey everybody, welcome back to Conscientious Omnivore. My name is Pal. Tonight I'm on my way back from another jiu-jitsu class, and I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about something that I told you recently in my live Q&A about a big change in my life that I've decided upon undertaking an adventure of sorts. I've given my notice at work a number of weeks back, and I'm going to be working until the end of August, and then I'm going to be a free man. And with that, of course, comes challenges, but comes, like I say, some freedoms as well. And yeah, really today I just want to talk a little bit about what prompted that. So I want to give you guys kind of the why I quit my job, and I also want to give you a little bit of the how in case anybody's interested. And yeah, so let's get into it. So basically, I guess, yeah, why did I quit my job? There's a number of reasons, and you know, this can be really personal, I think, for everybody. So, you know, some people do it for various reasons or others. For me, it's been something that I've kind of wanted to do for a long time, in the sense that I've always been wanting to work for myself. I might have to wait for a little bit, have the sirens go by. Okay, so why did I quit my job? I quit my job for a number of reasons. And, you know, going back pretty much as far as I can remember, from like pretty much high school on, I've always had a kind of an entrepreneurial spirit. I've had some companies that I've formed with my brother. Way back in the day, I had some companies I formed later with friends. None of them really ever got off to a huge success or, you know, anything, but nonetheless, it was always kind of in the back of my mind that I would love to work for myself and really kind of focus on things that I want to do and kind of dictate my own terms of work and where I find value and things like that. So it's been something that has been in the back of my mind for a long time, and I've actively worked on it. It's not just like a pipe dream that I've had that I never tried anything with. Now, with that said, like I said, I've never really had a successful business, and there's always been, you know, various things that I could probably point to that kind of held it back from being successful. Lack of money, lack of time, you know, not the right kind of people, or whatever. But you know, ultimately, it's just something that I've wanted to do for a long time. So that's kind of reason number one. Another reason is that you know, like I say, there is a lot of freedom to be had with doing work for yourself. I think a lot of times people kind of underestimate how much time they actually spend at work. And I've talked a little bit about this before in my videos where I talked about the book Your Money or Your Life. There is a lot of time that goes into preparation for work. So things like getting ready for work, getting dressed for work, getting into your workplace either by, you know, driving or taking public commute or whatever. And these things all add up. Never mind the fact that a lot of people work a lot of overtime. A lot of people work on the weekends, and that's all time that is taken away from our own pursuits, our families, etc. So there is this kind of, you know, secondary reason that for me, these are all kind of probably equal reasons. That I'm just giving them in kind of the order that they appear in my mind right now. They're not in like importance. They're not in the order of importance. So yeah, I want to have more time for myself. I want to have more time for my family. I want to have time for my own pursuits and bettering myself. So, you know, I'm a big fan of learning. I really love reading. I love, you know, bettering myself physically. I want to be able to do more training. I want to be able to do more running, and do more rock climbing, and do, you know, more things like being a better musician, playing more music, etc., etc. So, yeah, I want to have more flexibility, more time. That's another reason. That's another big reason. Another big reason is that I actually, you know, value my time very highly. I think regardless of what somebody is willing to pay me at any job, this is not a complaint against any of the places I've worked, but they're companies. They're not employing me, and they're not employing you or anybody else for reasons of charity. They are employing you because you are a valuable asset to them. You provide them a certain service that they value at a certain price. You obviously bring more value to the company than what they're willing to pay you, because otherwise they wouldn't do it. So, it's kind of like a fundamental belief that I have, that I know that I'm worth more than what I'm getting paid. And it's not a question of like arrogance or anything like that. And I think I'm trying to get this message to anybody, if you're interested in this kind of idea of how to work for yourself, that you have to believe that you're worth more than what you're getting paid at your job. If you don't, then you're just kind of undervaluing your time and your value. So I truly believe this. I think it's a big thing. And if I know that I'm worth more than what I'm getting paid, then in the concepts of like the Your Money, Your Life, the book that I've mentioned, they really talk about valuing your money and valuing your time. Money, you can always earn more, but time, you're never going to have more of. When you die, that's it. That's all the time you got. And it's just something that, you really just have to try to maximize the amount of money that you can get for your time, all within reasonable limits, of course. I'm not saying doing immoral things or things that you find questionable or objectionable to your personal, sensibilities, but just within reason. You want to try to get the most amount of money for your time. So that's another big reason that I think I can actually make more, for the time that I'm willing to put in. Now, that is not to say that I think I will inherently make more money, or that I even need more money than what I'm earning currently at my job. I may end up with a lot less money, but as long as I put in less time for it, I'm actually completely fine with that. Because thankfully, I think for a lot of people watching this, if you have the luxury of having internet and what have you, hopefully you're able to make more than just ends meet. If you're even able to save a little bit of money, you have some leeway. Obviously, the more leeway you have, the more free you are. But again, to a point, if you're fabulously wealthy, you still may not be happy. If you don't have a certain minimum, kind of financial, I guess, foundation, then of course it might be difficult to be happy again, because you might not have the basics of, things that you need to be happy. Okay, so yeah, valuing my time, that's another big reason. And, yeah, I guess those are kind of, the big things. I want to be able to spend more time with my family. I really feel like my children are at a critical age that I really want to be able to spend more time with them and be able to be an actual father figure that they can look up to and be around, and not just be somebody that goes into the office in the morning and comes home late at night and tucks them into bed and gives them a kiss and maybe a story. That's not the kind of dad I want to be. So that's a huge thing. It's kind of related to the time thing, but it's very specific to the kids. So yeah, these are all kinds of the things that I really think about. And the next big reason is that I really wanted to align my source of income with something that is more along the lines of what I value as far as like my ethics and my morals go. And that's not to say I was doing anything immoral. I don't really feel that, but what I do feel is that the work I was doing, so just in case anybody is curious, I guess I've been in information technology and project management for a long time now. So I've been in IT for, I don't know, 17 years or so, and I've been working for 20 plus years since college, and actually even before then. But yeah, ultimately, none of the work I've really done has been of the kind of thing that when I go home at the end of the day, I look back and I think, wow, like, man, I really did something today to, further my ideals, or make the world a better place. Or it's just like, yeah, did a service for some company and they valued it and they paid me money, and now I can go home. I take pride in my work. It's not a question of that. I hope people don't misunderstand me, but it is a question of just, at the end of the day, it doesn't hold kind of like this special warm place in my heart of something that I've done that's been really like wow, I'm really proud of this. This is what my life's purpose, like something like that. And I know it's a bit cliche, but people say, like, if you can find something that you really feel passionate about, and you can do that for your work, then you'll never feel like you're working. But I think that is true. The trick is that I think is very difficult to do, is to actually be able to find how to make money from the thing that you like doing. I've read so many books, I've read so many, you know, inspirational kind of, presentations, or watched them, and a lot of these kind of like, you know, gurus and people, what they get great at, you know, is they can motivate the heck out of you to want to just, you know, get out there and do your best, and like, I'm just going to quit my job and do something I love, and then the money will follow. And I think that's a little bit dangerous. And well, I shouldn't say that because I've never tried it, and maybe this is the fear that we're instilled with, you know, in society, that makes it difficult. But I've always been kind of afraid to try that, and the reason being is that you just hear about so many people that, you know, they do that and they blow through their savings or whatever, and then things don't come together the way they thought that they would, and then before you know, they're back at their regular corporate gig 9 to 5. So I don't want to do that, and yeah, I guess that's kind of like a big thing, is like aligning my income with something that I'm proud of and something that I really want to do. That is kind of a big reason as well. So that's kind of the why, and I hope that's interesting. I guess, you know, if you're interested in this kind of idea yourself, I would very much encourage you to develop your own answers to the why question, so that you really know why you want to do it. If you don't know why you're doing something, you really can't you know, you can't plan, you can't make a goal, you can't really act on that. You're just gonna kind of like drift and have things happen to you. You don't really know why you're doing something. It's gonna be a dangerous thing. So figure out your why. That's like number one. So I figure that I have a pretty good answer to my why question. Now the how, this is kind of the thing I was alluding to before. I think it's very easy to get motivated and be like, yeah, I'm pumped, I got my why. But then how? So this is the part where I'm pretty conservative when it comes to like financial risk and things like that. And maybe I'm a chicken, I guess. But yeah, I guess, you know, for me, it's like I wanted to have some kind of feeling of like the time is right. I have enough resources. I have enough, you know, something already kicked off and working, and you know, like a business that I've already started, and I've got some money coming in and whatever. And yeah, like I guess that's kind of the thing that I've always tried to do. So I always tried to maintain a 9 to 5 of some sort, some income, and then try doing stuff on the side. And so far, that has not worked out. And there is a wonderful video that I'm going to link at the end, and I'll put it in the description. I wish I remember the guy's name. I don't remember his name, but anyway, I'll put it in the description. The guy has a video called How to Quit Your Job and Survive. I think that's the title of it. And he gives like, I forget how many rules. I think it's 5 rules. But anyway, he gives you like these things that you should do to make sure that you can actually be successful and don't just quit your job and have to go back after you've failed. And I found that video to be incredibly helpful, and you know, and not just like motivating or inspirational, because I don't really have a problem with that. I have, you know, I think, like I said, there's a plethora of people who can motivate you and inspire you, but this guy I think has a pretty good like laid out logical approach of how to actually do it. So I'm not going to go through the steps because A, I'm a little lightheaded and I don't remember them off the top of my head perfectly, but just in general, I'm going to advise people watch that, and there's a couple things that I want to touch on. One is that, you know, he says, you know, you need to start kind of working on your business like on the side. Now, this is something that I have done before, and but I actually think it's a good idea. So, you know, have something that you're passionate about, have something that you're willing to do, and you know, start that as much as possible, if possible, while you're still working. Save a lot of money is another thing. Now, I don't have a lot of money saved up. I'm actually, if I look at my balance sheet, you know, if I don't count my house like as an asset, because I have some, you know, money, obviously that's my, you know, my wife's savings, my savings together that we've put in, but we still have a mortgage on the house. And, you know, that is still like, I guess, negative, you know, value in the sense that like we owe a ton of money on that, and what I have in the bank is less than what I owe. So technically I'm still in debt. I am nowhere near clear of debt. But what, you know, what I do have is I have enough money that I can do about a year of living out of my savings if I don't have any money coming in. Now that's a long time, and you know, this is not quite as simple as it sounds, and like I say, I owe quite a bit of money on the mortgage, and it's not quite as easy as it sounds. I don't want to get into the details. I'll probably do more videos about this in the future, so I'll explain more later, but just, you know, as a reference point, I know that is one of the guys' big tips, that, you know, you need to have some savings so that you're not going to be immediately, like, crushed if your idea doesn't work or doesn't produce money right away. So, long story short, I got some money. I'm, you know, feeling okay with not having money coming in for at least, I would say, you know, half a year. If I don't have any money coming in, I'm going to be a little bit starting to get worried. But up until then, I'm going to feel okay. So, you know, have some money, have some cushion to start, and you know, and also, you know, really, like, you know, have this thing where you're working on your idea constantly and while you're working. And this tip that he does in the video, I want to pass on because I think it's, like, for me, it was like one of the key, like, things. And I had sort of intuitively done it already, but yeah, it worked out really good. I love kind of his approach. So he recommends doing what he calls a second morning, and what that is a way where you come home, like, from work and you're really tired, it's, you know, it's late, whatever, you put the kids to bed, etc., etc. Everybody has their little thing, their routine. You know, you had a few, you know, words with your spouse, your missus, your partner, whoever, and now you're ready to get to work, but it's 10 o'clock at night and you're tired as heck and you've got no energy and you've got no creativity. Like, what do you do? So, well, what do you do is, he says, you trick your body and your mind into doing a second morning routine. And what he says by that is, what you do is you literally maybe take a tiny little bit of a break, and then you do a shower and you go through your, like, morning routine, maybe eat your breakfast or whatever. And that alone will probably just get you a little bit of a boost, a little bit of energy, and then you can hopefully, you know, kind of figure out just something that you can work on for that next, like, 1 or 2 hours, maybe 3 hours max of energy boost that you got from that little routine. Now, you obviously need to sleep too, so you can't do this, like, you know, ad infinitum and, you know, never, like, have to rest and come down. But if you really stick with this and, you know, try to do this either in the morning or in the evening, because, you know, he recommends it in the evening as a second breakfast, second morning routine. In the past, when I had tried to work on some of my business ideas, I had done this in the morning. Now, this was easier before I had kids, I'll be honest. So what I did was I woke up, like, mad early, and I got into work like 1.5 to 2 hours before my work actually began. And what that meant was I was in my office and I would bring my own personal laptop and I would sit in, like, you know, either my car or, like, in a conference room or, like, outside or whatever, and I would be working on my business idea out of work hours, but just in the office. So I was already woken up, I was already had breakfast, already, like, you know, whatever, and I was sitting in the office at 6:30 in the morning sometimes, and I didn't start work until 8. And you know, I did this, like, days on end, weeks on end, and I, you know, was working on a business idea at the time. So you can do this at night, you can do this in the morning, it doesn't really matter. The point is you have to really do it. And yeah, it cuts into your personal time, it cuts into your, you know, social life, it cuts into your life with your, you know, your significant other. It kind of sucks, like, to be honest, but, you know, it's just something that, you know, you can really, like, get a lot done if you're willing to kind of sacrifice some stuff and just work on these things. So that is a big, you know, part of the how, and that is something that I definitely recommend. Check out this guy's video and let me know what you think about it. If you do something like this, or if you did something like this already, I'd love to hear about it. And, you know, it would be great to just have, like, you know, some words of encouragement as well, because I personally don't actually have exactly what I'm going to do yet worked out. I'm going to talk about this in some later videos. I've got a bunch of ideas, but I just feel so strongly about it due to a number of reasons of, you know, how my life has kind of worked up to this point, that I feel really strongly that things are going to be okay. And I'm willing to actually try this now, even though it doesn't feel like it's the perfect time. Like, I kind of have come to the point that you probably never have a fully perfect time to try stuff. So yeah, that's really kind of what I wanted to talk about. I hope that this was interesting to people. If it was, let me know. And yeah, I guess just the last thing to tie this back into kind of my more usual, you know, content that I talk about, you know, what is that that purpose that I want to align to? Well, a big part of it is, you know, like the things I've already mentioned, but in addition to that, I want to be able to grow more of my own food. I want to be able to focus more on gardening, focus more on my own health, the health of my family, by producing more of our own food. And that's a big part of it. The other part is obviously this channel as well. I feel very passionately about this, and as I'm sure any of the regular viewers or even the people who are new subscribers, you know, will probably realize very quickly, is that I'm pretty passionate about this. I don't make any money off this channel yet, haven't made any yet. I think I will at some point, you know. I'm hopeful, and I feel pretty good, and you know, I'm gonna keep doing it whether or not that happens, because I feel pretty passionately about it. But you know, activism is definitely something that I want to do more of and not less of, and I would love to do some activism in real life. And for many years in the back of my mind, I've had you know, this idea of being able to help like homeless people get back on their feet. That is something that I you know, really want to be able to do in the future as well. And there's just a lot of similar kinds of things that are near and dear to my heart, and it would be great to be able to, like, you know, somehow combine those things all together and, you know, be able to make a living as well. And, you know, a big part of growing my own food, I can also save a lot of money. So, you know, I hope that's, you know, a good insight into kind of some of the things that you might be seeing coming up on the channel. There's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm looking forward to being able to do for you guys when I have more time. Hopefully improving the quality of the content as well, just like the video quality, and, you know, just make it a little bit, you know, more professional. And yeah, so anyway, I'm looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this, give it a big thumbs up. Really appreciate all the support. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. I realize it's kind of dark here, but yeah, that's it. So talk to you guys later. Bye.